Hey, Planeswalkers, Mythras here. Hope you're doing well and staying safe. Today, I'm excited because we've got another top deck coming your way. This one in the top 200s, but it's also something new and something we haven't seen. So I'm pretty excited, as always, to do that. And it's relatively unique right now within the format. So very, very happy to be covering this deck for you. But before we go and check it out, I just want to say thank you as always. I appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. Additionally, if you like the video, please like it. You can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Stay up to date on content like this. So what unique deck do we have? Well, my friends, we have a Simic Mutate deck. So I'm very, very excited about this, in particular because of this guy, Scute Swarm. So we'll come back and talk about this here in a minute. But we have not seen them quite a bit, even though I've heard you talk about this card often. It hasn't been around a ton in the competitive space, but now we're beginning to see it a little bit more. So very, very excited to be covering this particular deck today. And then for those of you that are new or have been around for a while, again, in terms of the naming convention here, Simic is the green-blue or the Forest Islands color pairing, which is the Simic Guild out of Ravnica. And then additionally, the mutate piece here is all about this component here, which is mutate. So we can target a creature and cast that spell for its mutate cost instead of its full cost. And again, you got to mutate on target non-human creature. And then when they mutate, we get on top all abilities plus their ability plus all the things under it. So sorry, there's tripping up a little bit. But it's pretty incredible. A lot of things that can happen here, and we'll talk a little bit more in depth about that here in a minute. So Planeswalkers, well, we get started here. As always, this deck list is available for you down below in the description. Additionally, there's a link down below if you prefer that, but obviously you can copy and paste, or you can click the link and do the download, that kind of thing too. So what do we got going on here? Let's run through this list quickly, and then we'll come back and talk about these key components here. And again, very, very excited about this because there's a lot of action and a lot of things that can happen. We'll talk about the main board, we'll talk about the sideboard, and then we'll talk about how to sideboard, and then we're going to go play some competitive Magic here today in both best of 1 and best of 3 as we have been in our traditional kind of format here. All right, so first off, we got Gilded Goose. So one, perfect target for Mutate. Second, the ability to create a food. And third, the ramp is very, very important here. And who loves a flying mutated creature? I think we all do. So next, we got Baby Godzilla, which is also known as Poliwag Symbiote, which is the actual name of the card, not Baby Godzilla. But what this creature does is each time we cast a mutate spell, it's going to cost 1 less due to this guy. And then additionally, whenever we cast a creature spell, if it has mutate, we can do a draw a card, then discard a card, which is great. So a lot of ability here, not only, again, in terms of ramp, but also the ability to do some deck smoothing. We have 1 Scavenging Ooze main boarded, which is great in terms of gaining life back, thinning out graveyards, which is always good, and many of you know that I absolutely love the Skoos here. Next, we got Tangled Florahedron. So this card is a modal land, so we can either drop a creature for ramp or we can drop a tapped land. Again, each of these giving us great landing targets in terms of our lovely mutate here. Then, of course, at 3, we got Scute Swarm. So this is a huge card in this deck, and it's a huge card in the format. So what happens here is this creature has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under our control, we get to create a 1/1 green insect creature token. If we control 6 or more lands, create a token that's a copy of Scute Swarm instead. So we get a lot of craziness going on here with these bugs, and they are going to grow relatively quickly. So I'm excited to be playing this for you today. We have not played a Scute deck yet. Next, we have good old Gem Razor. So this is one of the strongest cards again in terms of green. So we got Reach, Trample, and then we can mutate. And this destroys artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. We have Migratory Greathorn, another mutate component. Whenever we mutate, we get to search our library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle our library. So huge deck thinning capabilities there. This landing on a Gilded Goose is always great. Parcel Beast here, we can tap, again, mutate, we can tap, look at the top card of our library. If it's a land, we may put it on the battlefield. If we don't put that card on the if we don't put the card on the battlefield, we may put it into our hand. So another great ability in terms of draw advantage and those kinds of things. Next, we got Dreamtail Heron. So this card has flying as mutate, and then whenever this creature mutates, we get to draw a card. Again, a great one to have in the deck. Pouncing Shore Shark. So this creature's got flash, it's got mutate, and then whenever we do mutate, we get to return target creature and opponent controls to their hand. So a great bounce ability there as well. Then we have Auspicious Sterix. So this card is bonkers. One, its mutate cost is greater than its casting cost, but whenever this creature mutates, we exile cards from the top of our library until we exile X permanent cards. Now, where X is the number of times this creature is mutated, and then we put those permanents onto the battlefield. So it's a great way to cheat in a ton of stuff, which is going to be really important here. Then we got Vivian, Monsters Advocate. So we get to look at the top card of our library anytime. We may cast creature spells from the top of our library. So it works really well with the mutate creature kind of archetype that we got going on here. And then additionally, we can create for a +1 a 3/3 green beast creature token that can either have Vigilance, Reach, or Trample on it. And then lastly there, we can down 2 and essentially get a cascade effect. So when we cast our next creature spell this turn, we may search our library for a creature card with lesser converted mana cost, put it on the battlefield, and then shuffle our library. So last but not least, everyone's favorite, Ugin. So Ugin here is extremely powerful. We get this on the board, we're going to be pretty close to golden. Very hard to remove right now unless they do have some black removal spells or some exile stuff in terms of like white. But with that said, this guy pings for 2 or pings for 3 with +2. We can exile the board or gain 10 life, or sorry, gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, then put up 7 permanent cards from our hand onto the battlefield. So very powerful, lots of mechanics here. So early game, we're going to be slightly slow, but if we do ramp into it, we got a lot of power here behind the deck. So very excited about this one. We are running 24 lands. On top of that, again, we got the 2 modal lands, so good. I think, at least from a ramp perspective, little high is my flavor always in best of 1, but probably fits really nicely in terms of best of 3. I would maybe consider going to a like 22 and maybe a couple more modal lands, just my perspective there. But again, we have a couple Evolving Wilds to keep those triggers on the Scute Swarm going there. All right, so that is the main board. Let's go ahead and talk about the sideboard here. So first we got Chainweb Arachner. This card is great against flyer decks. It's great against graveyard decks. So whether that's going to be a Dimmer Mill, a Dimmer Rogues deck, or even some control decks, you might want to play this. And then it could be a good opportunity for you too as well against some of the Yorion decks, because when we do bring this back in, it does get a fight target creature, and then that's a great way to pick Yorion off too. Next, we got Essence Symbiote. So whenever a creature we control mutates, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature, and we gain 2 life. You're going to want to run this in the aggro decks. You're going to gain life back. You're going to get a bigger creature. They're going to have to remove this early. If they're not doing that, then we're going to be in a good spot. Scavenging Ooze or Skoos. We got 1 main board. 3 more are going to be great against mid-range decks like Kroxa, Rakdos, also any of the dimmer decks, mill decks, those kinds of things, you're going to play this. The mono blue Devotion or Self Mill deck as well. This is a great one for you to play. Next, we got Mystical Dispute. So being able to splash blue is really important here. I would play this against any control decks. I play this against any of the dimmer decks. Anything that's running blue, this is a good one. You could consider running this against the Jeskai decks, Azorius decks, any Yorion decks. Lots of places that you can run this. Anything that, like I said, that's got blue, this is going to be a good one to have in your back pocket. Next, we got Pouncing Shore Shark. So again, we got two of them here. I would run this against creature heavy decks. Against creature heavy decks is where you're going to want to play this. Very, very important. Again, the flash, the mutate is going to be key and very, very helpful. So I would run it against any of the aggro stuff. Things like the Boros Knights decks that we've done. I don't know if I'd run it against the rogue decks, to be honest, because of all the triggers that happen with the rogue. So you just got to be a little bit careful there, in my opinion. Great against Gruul aggro decks. Great against mono red decks. It's going to be helpful against even the auras decks that we did yesterday. So go ahead and check that one out. Obviously, user submitted, great top 1000 deck, but this is can potentially really slow down either mono white or Orzhov enchantment decks. And then last we got one more Vivien here, which we covered already. But this is good against any of those flyer decks, any of the rogue decks, being able to consistently make 3/3 green beast creatures with reach makes a very, very valuable play here. Additionally, on the top end against some of these aggro decks, it's not a bad one to have as well. Whew. All right, Planeswalkers, let's look at what we got going on here. If I want to break it up into, again, let's talk through the aggro, mid-range, and then control. So first off, for aggro, we talked about that a little bit. Essence, Symbiote, and then if they are mill, you may want to consider those. Where I would go, again, depending on what they're playing, I would actually consider cutting Vivien Monsters Advocate if they are not running dimmer, and then potentially the Ugin on the higher end here. Those are some decent spots that you can cut, get some of those creatures down that way. If they're not running some of those enchantments or artifacts, you may want to consider dropping Gem Razor here. I do like keeping the flood component of Skewed. You could always go less on that too, but that's just something that I enjoy within this deck. When we look at the mid-range stuff that we talked about, we're going to want to get Scavenging Ooze in there. That's going to be very, very important. Again, Pouncing Shark maybe in there against some of those aggro decks. Scavenging Ooze, Mystical Dispute might not be a bad one, and even a Vivien Monsters Advocate on the high end. I would probably still keep my Ugins. Here I would maybe look to move out again, more so in terms of some of this area, in terms of the mid-range piece. I like keeping Auspicious Sterix. I think being able to get that engine moving is going to be more important than anything else. So those are all good spots that you could consider, mainly up in this space and trying to get some of these other cards in. And then lastly, in terms of the late game stuff, there's really going to be more of an art to this one. You could always go heavy on the early game if you wanted, but I would definitely maybe play some Mystical Disputes if they're running Yorion decks, Vivien maybe as well. You could look to, you might want to keep, if they're not running white or they're not running enchantments, maybe move Gem Razor out. You may want to drop one Scute too, or two Scutes, and getting some of these other control type cards in there as well, because a Flood's not necessarily going to do it. They're probably going to have a good board wipe card in there, Shatter Sky or the Exile cards, so you want to be careful about getting hit by those as well. And then you want to be able to protect some of your top end stuff and some of the Flood things. So that's a spot that you could definitely look to optimize in my opinion. And then you could also remove Skoos too, if they're not running, a lot of that graveyard type stuff. Be careful in the Esper or the Esper set, because of Dance of the Mance. You're going to want to have those Scavenging Oozes in there. Whew. All right, Planeswalkers, that was a mouthful for us today. That is how I look at the Simic Mutate deck here that's in the top 200s. Again, we talked about the naming convention of the deck. We talked about the main board. We talked about the sideboard. And then we did cover how to sideboard. If you do have additional questions or comments, always happy to know down below. Happy to talk about the deck. Please never fear. Feel free and drop a line. I love discussing points of view and questions down there. All right, Planeswalkers, now on to our best of 1 matches and our best of 3 matches for the day. Very excited, like I said, to be playing this. And I'm moving up finally in the competitive ladder. I've been a little bit slow, but I'm very close. We got a few days left. Hopefully should be able to make it to Mythic. Not super worried about it. All these fun decks have led to some interesting games for us, so that is what I care about most, and setting you guys up for success. All right, so let's go ahead and play our standard ranked here. We do have our Simic Mutate deck. With that said, Planeswalkers, let's go ahead and play some best of 1. All right, as always, before we get started here, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. Additionally, if you like the video, please like it. You can like me on Facebook and also follow me on Twitter and Twitch to stay up to date on content like this. All right, so we got eras here. Ooh, we're going to have some deck thinning with Migratory. We'll keep this because we'll get our flyer. We can go grab our blue. Ooh. I think we do this, actually. Because turn 3 we can still drop the skewed. Grab our blue. Not going to drop the skewed yet. So I didn't drop Scute because I want to have a land before I drop it. 2, I didn't want to play Scavenging Ooze because when I play Scavenging Ooze, I want to be able to pull something out of my graveyard too, or their graveyard. So we'll be able to slow play that a little bit more. Ooh, now that's going to hurt. If they pull the Scoos, that's the right play. I would probably leave Scute if they have a kill spell. Yeah, that's the one they're going to want to get. Let's look here. I need to grab... do that. I would suspect I got a kill spell, but maybe not. We'll take it. So we got one more we can push with. So we'll pop this on, we'll push Magnetic. Here comes the kill spell again. Maybe? Yeah. I'm gonna get rid of Ugin. It's gonna take me a while. So now we can play Skewed. Ooh, there's blue in there. Look at that. There's the blue. What? Grixis Control it is. Not Rakdos. So as long as they don't have Exile, we'll be able to flood the board. Alright, here we go. Go like this. Put it on that guy. Hedging our bets a little bit. So now we can get... Ooh. A few more chances. There you go. I'm going to pump that. Ooh, there we go. go. Now, let's keep digging. Oh, Scute. We're sitting good now. We are sitting good now. Just need to keep flooded. Oh, let's get Gem Razor. Let's get rid of that Maze Mine. Don't even have anything playable in there yet. No. Boom! Look at that. I took the easy route on that one though. I was just gonna keep blowing up the board. So that is a great prime example of how Scute Swarm works. Once you begin to control the board like that, there's not a lot your opponents can do. All right, on to our next standard 1 match here. Ooh, that worked out nicely in our favor today, so that was nice. And like I said, played it slow, went wide. They could have had an exile, but I think they knew that their time was up. All right, we go first. I like it. We're going to keep this. We can turn to that one. So the question here is, do we keep the Scute? I think we do this actually. We don't ramp. All right. So I think we do this. We'll go grab it. Grab another blue. Ooh, that's real good for us. And let's keep looking. So they need Embercleave quickly. All right, this is going to be fun.
Cat dinosaurs? I love Ikoria. I call, and Ikoria answers.
So double block. It's gonna be close. They might have it. Yeah, they got it. Oh, oh, bummer, bummer, bummer. Very, very quick build. Unfortunately, not fast enough there against the mono red deck, but not bad. We did get Vivian down. Oh, so close. If we would have had a million more scutes. All right, on to our standard ranked best of 3 match here with our Scute deck. Moving quickly today. All right, let's see what we got going on against Dabo Jin. Debogan. And as always, Planeswalkers, before we get started here and decide if we're going to keep this hand, which you may already know if I am going to or not, just want to say thank you as always. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. I appreciate your support. Additionally, like the video if you like it. You can like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Twitch as well to stay up to date on content like this. All right, we are not going to keep this. We are going to go ahead and mulligan. Unfortunately, that was the first time we've seen Sterix. I will keep this. So we got a Rakdos. Probably going to be mid-rangey, or it could be Control as well. I'm gonna get Great Horn on here first. Go grab that blue. So we can play Scute, so we can get 2 off it, hopefully. There we go. Let's go grab 1 more blue. Oh, that one hurt. So good news. I guess our choice has been made on what we're going to play. We will play this onto that. Play that. We'll activate. There we go. That's going to be a big one. And we'll play that onto Parcel. Next turn, if we get away with it. They'll have enough to get Ox on.
Well, that was a waste.
So we could tank that. I think we do this though. They might be able to clip both of them. Yeah. Ooh. Let's keep going. And we'll keep going. Alright, there we go. Boom! Ooh, that's nasty. Okay. So let's see here. What do we want? We're going to want Scavenging Oozes in here. So let's grab those. I don't mind. Vivian does a good job. We can play Viv. Let's drop Dreamtail. We got 3 more that we can drop. We can keep that. How many lands are we running? 24. I'm going to drop those 2. And then let's drop 1 Shore Shark. That will keep us pretty good, I think. Actually, let's keep 1 Tangled in there. Just in case. Alright. Oof, we got the engine going nicely there. Let's see how it goes this time. Once we started loading on the Auspicious, they were in trouble. Absolutely. We'll try it. That's a bummer. Nothing of value yet. Get rid of Ugin. Actually, let's get rid of 1 Viv. Did not get a Scooze. Ugin's gone. Oh, we gotta do this. We don't have a choice. Alright. right, on to the next match. They hit it nicely. Oof. We did not pick up well. The mana base hurt us at the beginning there. Shore Shark, we could play again. I think we're okay. Debating if we do this, but we don't need the life gain. I think we're okay still. We just did not hit it well. All right, let's try it again. If we get a Scavenging Ooze, they're in trouble. We just sit on it. There we got a Scoos. Now we just need some Mutate. That works. Oh, they gotta pull a Scoos. Yeah. Let's thin that deck. Ouch. They're gonna get their Croxa in quickly. Now, next turn they got Croxa. We could use the Scoos. Alright, so let's do this. If we get a Scoos, oh, shoot. Crocs is going to hurt us pretty badly. We don't have much that we can play at this point, and they're going to be able to control the board. We're doing this to thin. Good thing we did. Would have hit another land. Alas, my friends, was a good match, but not good enough. We did not take down the Rakdos Midrange, unfortunately. Good games, nonetheless. Had a lot of fun. Sadly, we went back in the middle, or from the middle to the end of D2 here, but that's okay. We will make it all up. All right, so Planeswalkers, let's go ahead and check out this deck again here. Top 200 Simic deck. I forgot to mention who this one was by, but it's by Deninja. So congratulations, Deninja, for hitting the top 200 with this deck. Meant to say that earlier. I apologize. Had a lot of fun playing this one. Split best of 1, lost in best of 3. Unfortunately, just didn't get enough juice going against the mid-range deck. We did get it going once, but that is how it goes, my friends. Anyways, with that said, if you got questions or comments, please let me know down below. Deck list is available for you down below in the description. There's also a link there for you if you prefer that route. Again, here's what we got going on. Planeswalkers, as always, I just want to say thank you. If you got questions, as I said, please feel free to ask. Appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. Additionally, if you like the video, please like it. You can also like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Twitch, stay up to date on content like this. Well, Planeswalkers, you stay safe. We'll see you again soon. Love this deck. Tons of fun. Great to see Mutate deck. We got everything triggered. We got the Scute, we got the Ugin, we got Sterix going. So you did get to see all the components, which I'm happy about. Results could have been better, but hey, that's Magic. That's how it goes. So stay tuned, stay in touch, because we got a lot more coming your way soon. Take care, Planeswalkers. Mythras out. We'll see you again.